Good morning, everyone. This chart's up and running. All right, where are we here? Well, little breakout failure. Nothing of significance as of yet, but it's a start. So, one of the things that I always find a point of interest, so to speak, to like pay attention to technicals, which we always do. Some are very obvious. But when I see something with a consolidation like that, and it breaks out and it ends the day with a topping tail bar, that is a tell. And these are the futures, of course, which encompasses the overnight data. And then Friday got another rejection, but it was an inside day, right? So big deal. Today could move up. That's typical bar by bar. One or two bars don't make a setup or a trade necessarily. But now it's down a little bit this morning. Again, no big deal. It's sitting on all of this support. These are the kind of things how it starts that says, you know what, market's been acting well. Yeah, it's been quiet the last few days. No big deal. The trend is up, especially new all-time highs, so on and so forth. Well, obviously this week, we got these economic reports coming out Tuesday and Thursday. It's sitting on the support here. So maybe no one's going to be too aggressive as to get into some significant selling. But we start getting these kind of pieces of information that says, you know what, don't be too aggressive. Breakouts might start failing. Buy setups might start failing. And so here's what it is. And we see where prices are at. Um, Prices moved up above the resistance, momentum slowing down, plenty of support below. That's a good thing. So a lot of these charts that may begin to pull back, major support is way down here in a lot of them. So prices could pull back. Here's minor support. Again, we're looking at the S&P futures. Minor support. There's some support here. Those are relatively strong confluence of things coming together. The 20 MA, if things should start to pull back, there would be this break, which would turn the intraday trends lower. But the daily trends would be up. Weekly trends would be up. All right. Similar, not the same, but similar. Broke out here, inside bar, the topping tail, lots of support. Who's going to want to short this setup? I don't no idea. But people do different things, but we'll see if it violates the support. We just may have another sleepy kind of day. We've had a lot of them. Um, it's kind of grinding down here, whippy. Look at how it breaks and whips up. It takes out the pivot highs. It goes back down, back up, back down. Lots of pivots, and that's a erratic kind of price action that not pleasant. But uptrend, there's more of a sideways trend here, but things are going to move lower. It's in development mode, or whether it's just going to correct sideways to go by and then going higher. We'll see. Um, we have sentiment telling us be careful. Look at the call buying here, right? On a day to day. This is the total put call ratio. Equity must be even lower. I could put it on here, but take my word for it. It's probably even lower than this because it typically is. You can see it's through the upper bands. Last time this was through the upper bands, we had pretty sizable correction. Total is through the lower band and at 0.8. And so we've had this increase in bullish sentiment as prices went up. It's fine. And what we're interested in is when it reaches an extreme, and it's pretty extreme right now. There's high expectations. The markets will go higher. Breadth is deteriorated a little bit. That's really not that big of a deal when you get these small candle bodies like that, but under the hood, things are deteriorating a bit. The best signals come when these are aligned at the same time. As I look at this up here, it's not the textbook kind of a signal, but maybe this preceded. So look, we look at these things. It doesn't always set up in exactly the way that we want it to. Um, but we put as much information together to what's a high probability setup. So as far as selling or shorting, no, we don't have that yet, but we've got some information that says, at least in the short term, be careful as well as this. Will be less aggressive until we see this news comes out. But I would say just based on this sentiment and this here, as this news comes out this week, there's a high probability that the market sets a high, or this is already in the short term. Repeating, but again, the good thing is, it's unlikely to violate the trend unless there's some terrible surprise as to numbers. In missiles going off in the Middle East, crazy stuff. Interest rates, it's pretty much baked in that they're going to cut quarter, half. This is down about 3/4 of a point, so they already done from where this started down. They already did the half, so right now it looks like a quarter, just based on this information. Other markets. Oh, this is very interesting. First, let me look at SPY. So see things are down here a little bit and gapping below Friday's low. Not significant. Even by the open, it might be into Friday's low. It's just chopping around here. Lots of small little candle bodies up there. So pretty go nowhere kind of days. But buying dips, right? Buying dips, buying calls, expectation it's going to go higher. Now, you go and look at SPX, and the open interest in puts and calls is, I'll use the word for me, I look at the size of it, and they're exactly at the same strike expiring today. So it's like a monster standoff at 57.60, which is right here at this where I got it marked. That line is right at 57.60. So you've got this coiled spring, whatever analogy you might think, but you've got these forces, bullish and bearish, supply demand at one strike on the SPX here, and it's expiring today. Right? So who's going to blink? And can it get above, where those holding those puts maybe say, you know what, it didn't gap down big. It didn't go up big calls. It didn't go up big. But the premium up here is so tight. Well, it's opening here based on SPY. So, but the strike down to the put side went so far away that there's no big economic news today. Maybe, over the weekend kind of thing going on. Who knows what's going to happen? At least I don't know. But this is so far away. To me, it appears to be a no-brainer. And of course, you could get a little tighter than this. There's no apparent reason at this moment that the SPX would ever go down there today. And you've got a bottoming tail bar here. You can see it lines up with the hourly 65-minute chart with all those pivots. Then there's another bottom tail bar. You don't have that many pivots, but a little unfilled gap, inside gap, right there, and support. So you've got all of these lines of defense, so to speak. And so this what makes this what I believe a no-brainer, that it shouldn't go down there today. All right, industrials got rejected like a lot of things on Friday. There's many, many topping tail bars that were created on Friday in different stocks and in different industries or sectors, I should say. Transports in the trading range, normal for that to get rejected at the top of the trading range. VIX popped up a little bit. Now it's popped up a little bit in the past. It didn't do much. And over here, well, it did. So more information starting to come together as to maybe smaller size, better maybe give things bigger stops, whatever, share sizing accordingly. The Dow futures rejection. And the Russell kind of just hanging out here. So as we look at some other things that have underperformed, and I see these, not that this is an ideal kind of buy setup, and a topping tail bar form like that, it opens up the door to the possibility, which is aligned with the internals of buy setup failures or measured moves lower. So you want to have alerts, in this support areas to see if they break. And looking at the ETF, we see another rejection that occurred on Friday. Look at financials, another rejection. This is more of, creating a trading range. You got these pivot highs here. It's in the middle of the range, so really no big deal. Yet, SMHs. Now, I'm hopeful that technology holds up relatively well if we do get some corrective price action. It took out this pivots, it got above the moving averages, cleared that resistance. So many things, or many times, what has underperformed or gotten beat up worse tends to hold up a bit better, since the majority of the selling theoretically has already occurred. Whereas those that are outperformed and maybe extended in the short term get sold a little harder as money rotates out of that, where those stronger and money's already rotated out of semiconductors. So we're looking for those to hold up, hopefully relatively well during any selling that should happen. All right. Biotech. I thought that was going to break out, based on, the weekly chart, this red bar ignored here. It hasn't. It's still chopping back and forth, and it's another measure of how aggressive are traders. Biotechs are more speculative, and that got rejected on Friday, and it didn't break out. Regional banks, not necessarily speculative, but questionable as far as their health. When interest rates were going up, interest rates come down a lot. They came back, but a little rejection, not a great buy setup, but a little rejection there, moving up. Why isn't this a great buy setup? The angle of retracement. And while this moved up nicely here, it didn't really take out resistance with authority. So not the best, but when we see a pattern like this, the ideal scenario is to have a correction bar. Meaning, if I could drag this bottoming tail bar and put it over here next to this bar, where it dipped down under the support and came back up, where it was gapping down. No, it's not gapping down significantly here, but if it had gapped down and then we had a green bar back up, that would be a good buy setup, because the angle of retracement making it questionable, in addition to a correction bar and this little sideways price action, would now make it a higher probability setup. So when we utilize different concepts like angle of retracement, trends, multiple time frames, relative strength and weakness, bar by bar analysis, market internals, we put together higher probability setups. And we don't always get them, but it's great when it does all come together. Same thing here with technology, as with semiconductors. Now Bitcoin down here a little bit, but it broke out above this pivot. And so seems to be getting ready to, well, it is moving higher, but it's within a trading range. It was down at the bottom of the range. Now it's getting here. So some of these are looking much better related to Bitcoin. So far, today's kind of a big red bar there, but it's what we call a self-correcting uptrend, which is defined by tails and overlapping bars, yet it continues to march its way higher. Getting along here to hand. I have it over to Dan. I got to look at crude oil. That had a decent day on Friday. The oil stocks. So some money shifting into things that are pounded down already. Crude oil's on the bottom of the range here. So we'll see if this can make a turnaround in the coming days or not. And I guess other than that, gold, new all-time highs. Little pullback there, gapping down this morning. Yep. Yeah, Mike is mentioning silver and but silver looks good. Not as good as gold. Well, gold already looks good, right? It's already moved up. It's at all-time highs, a little extended. Silver is at the top of the trading range, Mike, and it got a little rejection last week. So, as always, if it can consolidate up here for a week or so, this could move up. And where could it move up to? Much higher. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. All yours, Dan.
Hey, Greg, compare that to SLV. They look pretty different. SLV over the high I have on my list.
Well, this is an ETF and, it gaps, but it's at the top of the trading range.
Well, but yeah, but the daily, the futures were a buy setup, and this is a 1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, if it could take out the high, I
Right.
agree. But, this taking out the high at the top of a range wouldn't be as high odds as something where it started out, from the bottom. But hey, let me set an alert. You can set alert and we'll see what happens.
Yep, I got an alarm. I hope everyone had a great weekend. It's only one earnings. But let me go through my alerts. That's the first thing I look at. IDCC here, alarm went off. And we have this as a long watch, breakout daily, weekly. Dollar General alarm, little bottoming pattern. See, my alarm went off up here, but now it's back down. So just reset it. AGNC. See, my up alarm went off again. False start. That's gapping down. Let me reset it. But that's a nice buy setup. Well, it's a deep retracement, came in hard, but it is a buy setup that triggered on Friday. And then the weekly, monthly I like. So that's why we call this a continuation of the buy setup, because it already triggered. And so I like the fact that it's gapping down. And that's a nasty gap to Friday's low. So it is not going to trigger unless it's strong. And if it does trigger, we're going to have two bottoming tails here. And then, yeah, my gold alarm went off. Pull back expected. AT&T alarm. I know Alex is in that. It looked like, oh, we're in it too. We bought call options. So let me reset the alarm. And we're also in Verizon. There was some news on both those. Oh, really? Okay. All right. Well, that's interesting. Okay, that's interesting. Let me put it here. Verizon, and we're also in. My up alarm went off. CVS alarm went off. That there was some news about an activist accumulating. So my guess is that's what got it blasting on Friday. But we have a put spread, and I said just move stop 5-minute low. Protect the gains. All right, those are all the alarms. CCL had earnings. slopping all over the place. Nothing to do here. NCLH, his cousin RCL, has been the beast. We did both a directional trade in this and also a put spread. I just did a little chart lesson on the put spread one. I sent it to Telegram, put it on Facebook. And Sitla, they Chrysler and Fiat, another profit warning. No patterns in ADR, but obviously you want to watch our American counterparts. There was actually a bearish article in Barron's on GM also of its best times being behind it now. Both of these gapping down. Neo, I think the news was they secured some bond financing. Looks like a bottom on the weekly, monthly, short-term top though. Be a short-term exhaustion gap, maybe for a call spread. Boeing, they say that still no end in sight. We got this looming dock workers strike going on at midnight tonight. So I thought I'd look at these railroads. There's no patterns. Zero. There's nothing to do in these railroads. Maybe a call spread under Thursday's low. And here's a couple truckers. O'Daffel's just a total sideways mess. KNX, at least it's above all the MAs. Well, this one looks the best though to me. Wern. If we can get a 1, 2, 3, then maybe target, almost 40. I know I got K-Web on here again. Amazing. I cannot remember, Alex, the last time I have seen so many continuation gaps. This was an igniting gap down here, which, believe it or not, at the time, we saw it and it looked big at the time. Because this all this data is now scrunching it. But if you go back, that was a big gap to resistance. And then here you think it's an exhaustion gap, and here you think it's an exhaustion gap, and again and again. And there's just crazy. So these I think are going to be call spreads. Look at this. This is both igniting and kind of ending volume after multiple gaps. So yeah, the BABAs, all these things have been wrong. Some have just gone vertical last week. That Tepper hedge fund guy was pounding the table on it. I just wish he pounded the table early over here. Alex, you and I talked about core long BABA on this breakout. The weekly and monthly were in alignment, and what scared us was just China risk. But that sure paid off in the short term, didn't it? Arquilius, I had an alarm go off. Put spread idea. Now let's just go up here in no order, just watch list things. T-Tech here ripping. Wow, when I saw it this morning, it was around $5. Now it's up another 10% from there. I have no idea what's going on, but that looks like a long-term bottom. It's just the gap's too big. SVB, Greg mentioned in his video. Little continuation breakout. Urban put spread idea, if there's anything at 37.50. But yeah, I told Greg that we have so many beautiful bullish setups that it concerned me, and obviously particularly with the internals being where they are. So I hope our longs don't trigger, particularly with this gap down. 37 puts on Urban are only 20 cents. Schwab bottoming pattern. I got an alarm. And you reset at 64. 64, 65. This would be a no-brainer put spread, but no juice. DD breakout daily, weekly, monthly. Yeah, the metals also had a great week with that China stimulus. KMX. This was earnings on Thursday. What we call a bear gap that bullies. It's kind of a pseudo 1, 2, 3 with a void. I got an alarm. NVIDIA week here. It's gonna drag down the semis a bit. STAA. Big move. ITA. Buy setup, little bull flag. Levi, I did a chart lesson. They'll come out Wednesday, the trade review. That was a nice run. These oils might be reversing here. We had 180 reversals. Looks like they're all flattish today. Humana, short-term bottom, put spread idea. Etsy, bottoming pattern, cat. Why am I looking at cat? I have no idea. Barron's is what positive Barron's article. You know, dude, I remember this day. It was on a Wednesday. We had we were bearish. And then all of a sudden, everywhere we close with these big old bottoming tails, turning to a multi-bar turn. Look at the run from those crazy, amazing runs. But now the dude's writing a bullish article. IFF alarm. Wern alarm. Kroger. Kroger. Kroger looks great. Beautiful 15 also. That looks great, Kroger. Diamonds are the weakest here today. Look at the 5 and 15-minute chart breaking down. Big old topic tail breakout failure. IWM, at least on the 5-minute, has the biggest bounce so far. We have some naked 215 puts for Friday. LMT alarm, so up alarm. This one we have long calls. Let's change the stop here. 88, 88. Oh, Oracle alarm went off this morning. I forgot. Hey, October's coming soon. Spooky month. Bah, up alarm, bah humbug. Yeah, Oracle. Oracle. Yeah, we gave naked puts, so I said, yeah, naked puts are a go. LMT up alarm. We're already in it. So, all right, Qs are rocking on the 5 minute. Look, filled the gap. Monday mornings are my busiest with all these alarms going on. LMT, AD line gap down to negative 600. So that's a little red flag. I see A and F. We did a put spread that's coming in a little. IDCC. Um, IDCC. Actually, it's a good. AT&T low alarm already. That's not good. All right, bah humbug. Schwab up alarm. Wow, really interesting. Lulu holding. Oh, Dell was a problem child. I tightened the stop. Pre-market, I saw it. We'll give it to you. And also coin gapped under the stop. So I posted that. Mitch, I missed that one. I don't see it in my alarms. So, okay. Mitch. Over 37.84. We're going to sell the 37 puts. So we need to get our desired target first, but yeah, the price triggered. Hughes, nice comeback. Greg and I think both in our heads, we were thinking, yeah, we're starting out weak, but let's see if the bulls can get it together to close with bottoming tails, and you know, Qs are doing that right now. They're the strongest. They already took out the closing 5-minute resistance right here. LPLA. Yep. Yeah, I'd prefer maybe 30-minute high, but sure. All right, this Schwab. Oh, let's give it 30 minutes.
I don't see much here, but as far as something near support that's pulled back, Microsoft maybe in the next day or so. Maybe today turns around, might form a daily pattern here.
Yeah, no, Ron, I had it in a thumbnail and I was just saying I saw it pulling in, but now I'm looking at the daily and don't like it at all. But it's one of those things. Just because I don't like it, what what can I do about it? We got a put spread. I just gotta let it simmer down. But bar by bar analysis, not good, is it? Kroger, we were buying calls, 55 calls. Okay, this is retracing.
JPM could be a short if it gets close to the gap fill. ZS under today's low.
Max, I don't like the way that trades, all those overlapping bars.
And it's slow. Probably safe though, Sam. And as far as it ain't going to do much, I don't think. Twilio looks good. It's got a good monthly. This isn't great, but it's got a buy setup on the weekly. It'll take some time. EZPW.
What do you want to do with that? All right, that Oracle put should have been filled now on this pullback. Yeah, I'm posting now.
Don't look at Rambus much, but semiconductor that might be able to catch some legs a little bit. Got a declining 50 overhead.
Sam, do you know anything about catching legs? Here's the bottom. Here's the W bottom with a 1, 2, 3.
Yeah,
Yeah,
RDFN looks good.
entry hit, but look at this big old void. Kind of looks like a Sammy boy setup, maybe. Um,
Yeah, REITs pulled back.
Redfin we're in, but yeah, looks good to add yesterday's high. Sure, beautiful weekly. Correct, Alex. Yeah, yeah, it looks good. Was that on your list? Um, all right, what'd you say? Rambus, the butts we used to call him. Yeah, that'd be a great naked put.
If this was to close like this, I don't know about doing it today. Uh, Unity Software, symbol U. I do like it. I mean, it's just started the move. Look at the converging moving averages a couple of weeks ago, and it broke out.
And I just sold calls on my dad's Q's position, 0 DTE. Rambus. He's 1028. Yeah, I like Rambus. Here. Oh, my Redfin alarm just went off. Yeah, put it on 11. alarm. That's not do. Yeah, mentioned you. Yeah, sloppy little rectangle. I don't like oracle retracement.